beautiful souls. I hope you're well. Today, I have the great pleasure of having with me Dawn. Dawn, the beautiful lady who is also part of our galactic groups. When we have the opportunity to share not only men and women with the interest for a starseed connection, if we want, and everything that's related to the galactic world is something that we really have a lot of interest to. So this is how I met beautiful Dawn, who is doing so many things, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to share a bit more about all she does. She's an advocate for soldiers, and she will definitely develop a little bit more about why, and tell us more about that. She is also doing some informal in the sense that she's not doing officially, but some healing with the Deems device, which is a beautiful new tool of healing that has developed by Chris O'Connor. And you do your Reiki, I think, as well. You're just doing a bunch of things. And you are, to me, the incarnation of I don't know, when I think of a soldier of light, I think of Dawn. She's like this totally strong woman, but filled with love and filled with high energy, but she doesn't take any shit. And this is what I love about what comes out of you. So Dawn, how are you? And just tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, Abigail, and thank you so much for having me on your channel. I'm truly honored and happy to be here. Super excited because we did meet in the Galactic Chicks, and we've been pretty we hang out there and it's fun.
Definitely.
So yes, I've been advocating for the soldiers for, I would say, I began 2016. Without saying too much, because the topic is very sensitive and it's not really welcomed on these channels, especially the information that I came across, the research, the impact that it had on my life and where it led me was my mission, which I chose to do on my own, and that I felt very strongly to do, was to create awareness and be a voice for the voiceless and those for the soldiers, which has a lot of coincidences with what we're seeing today happening in our society. So I am writing a book on that, because at some point I feel like humanity will be ready to get into those details, really figure out what was going on, and make their own connections.
Yeah.
When it's at a safe time for everybody to do so, because I feel like everybody now is already, they've got a hint and they're very aware. But that mission took me away from most of my spirituality and what I was gearing towards. At one point in my life, I began Reiki studying and my classes in 2011. I did my master level and was gearing towards that, but it was not welcomed. It was very used against me, and I became very targeted for, oh my gosh, you're going to believe someone who uses her hands and thinks that she can heal people with her hands and whatnot. I mean, we all had this ability. We just have forgotten it, and just need to tap right back into it at some point. So I really had to put that part of my life in the back burner and go into some really heavy research on getting people to, how are they going to hear me? How are they going to listen to me? Because, oh my goodness, if you didn't wear a white coat and you didn't have a PhD, you weren't anyone important or special. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the big issues right now, is where we really need to be listening to each other, because we have been the answer to everything. And they've really disconnected us, and we feel kind of for this little trick where we've been disconnected from each other somehow, and seeing other people outside of us as, oh, the only ones with this knowledge, and you have to acquire such knowledge, you have to do this and you have to do that, when it's really been within you this whole time.
Absolutely. Just to put perhaps a little bit people in context, and I'm going to be super careful here, but when you talk about the dangers in which the soldiers have been, it has to do, and I'm just going to keep it at that, with what's been happening here since.
Yes.
Okay. So yes. I would perhaps, would you, if I know it's a sensitive subject, but I think it's important for people to be aware of that. Is there a way in which people could research a little bit more about that topic, or if they want to know more, if it raises their curiosity this way without, endangering yourself in any way? Is there a
Yes.
resource we could?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I do. Yes, there is. I had this video, this documentary up in my YouTube channel, but that was taken down. I was trying to get it out in Instagram. I was trying to get it out in many different platforms, and this link was being blocked.
Mm.
So when Telegram came along and I was able to get in there, I've been able to post that documentary there. I don't want to say the name of the documentary, but I do have it pinned because that will tell
Absolutely.
everybody basically everything,
Okay.
you know,
So I
aside
will make
from
sure.
my story.
Yeah, I will make sure that this actual link on Telegram will be shared under the video. This way, people can investigate a bit more about this, which is absolutely crucial and something you've been fighting for with all your heart. So I think it's really important for people to go and explore your Telegram channel. So I didn't want to cut you there, but since you're mentioning it in a sort of relatively vague way, I wanted to make sure for people who are actually able to access that information. So I invite you to continue. Sorry.
No, and thank you very much because that was an important part of it. Yes. Leading them there is actually very vital. So um I got back into my spirituality and this calling in me to just um remember something important about myself. There was this, that this time during that mission of mine where things became very difficult, very dark, very lonely, um, not really wanting to, like I started I had to change my name. I wasn't posting pictures of my family. I wasn't posting pictures of my children. It was just strictly like, this is it. This is it. But that became very tough, very difficult. So, and putting myself and my own growth, my own healing had to come at some point because it was really taking a toll on myself. So I was getting back in touch with me when I knew there was more to what has been going on. And even as a kid, I've always known there's just more to this. There's so much more to this. And I had a very difficult time in school where I'd be reading history books and it would be so one-sided, and it was just this one-sided way of getting you to think the other people were trying to do something bad to them, and when in reality it's just like, okay, well, where's the input on these other people and where's their story, and how do I know it wasn't you overpowering them, and etc. So my questions got bigger and they never got answered, so I got extremely bored and tired of school, and I didn't do well. I missed school for about 3 months straight. It was not just difficult and I couldn't connect with anything they were telling me, but financially at the time my family was they were requiring specifics in each class. You need to have this, a red pen, two blue pencils, and like very specific and retarded just to have an education. And I didn't have it. My mom didn't have it, and I knew she was having a hard time. So I was like, in order to make this easier, I'm just not gonna come. I'm not gonna come.
Yeah.
Not that she was happy about it at the time, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of starseeds did have difficulties with these areas in their life as well. It's something I've seen that's common. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
mean,
if you did
our
as
heart.
well.
Well, I was kind of homeschooled in the sense that I was traveling a lot with my parents. My parents were like, what's the word? Development workers around the world. So grew up in different areas of the world, and my parents were homeschooling me. So I've been really lucky in that way, because the little school I did in a normal kind of Western school, I just hated it so much. It was
Oh,
horrible. It was like prison for me. So I think it's the case for many people, and I felt what they were telling us was just not making sense, but on the intuitive level, right? I mean, it's always like you don't have someone actually bringing you really right information, but you just know in your heart that it doesn't make sense. So I know you're
yeah.
homeschooled your children as well. So I mean, there's obviously a connection there. So how did that go for you, or still going for you? Do you find is it challenging for parents who are trying to homeschool their children in this period of time?
Um, I do feel a challenge, but I'll tell you what, it's because of the pressure I was giving myself, thinking I had to. they had to know this, or do it a certain way. When I started homeschooling when it was very poo-pooed on
Yeah.
a few years ago. Um, this was pre, the pandemic. So
Yeah.
it was very frowned upon. I even had an intervention by my family that was not for what I was doing, and
Mhm.
telling me that where I was going with that was not good. And I'm just like, okay, you don't know, just
Yeah.
just do what you can do, keep going your way, and stick to it. Because inside me, I knew it was the right way, but I also ran into a lot of like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
I was stepping on out into unknown grounds. I had been in school most my whole life, and I recognized my limitations, my programming, my indoctrination, and I can probably say that I recognized it. But damn, it took me. I'm 44 years old. I don't want other people to get to this age where they're realizing this stuff. So when I did first try, I went on with the online schooling,
Hmm.
and I tried this program. Well, my daughter was already a little bit aware of what was going on with things, and they had these little brain bot videos where they're teaching your child something, and they were all for women who were pregnant to get this while they were pregnant, without any basis, without any studies, without any backup whatsoever, in sixth grade class. So my daughter came up to me and was like, you gotta see this. Look what they're making us watch. And that was a red flag for me. I was like, this isn't the way. I said they're just as bad as going to public school. So I completely dropped off of that and found a curriculum that I'm working with right now. It's a little bit difficult. It shortens the education time, but it's got the where it goes right. It's got kinesthetics, where you're learning hands-on or audio or visual, or it works with four different types of learning. And it's a faith-based, learning. It's a very good curriculum, but it's done by parents.
Okay.
So I'm still working with that. I'm not fully sure I want to continue with that, because I want to see more geometry in children's learning. I'm not seeing that. I want to see frequency learning, musical learning, energy learning, and I'm just not seeing it in these curriculums. So I feel like maybe me being led into all this is showing me there's a need for something that's not there.
Yeah, and
And
you're being called perhaps to,
yeah.
that'd be really interesting. But, I mean, you're already swamped with so much you're
Yeah.
involved in that. Yeah, but it's a
I
beautiful.
was very hard on myself to begin with. And then I got to this point a few years later where I'm just like, there's no wrong way of learning. When you're hungry to learn and want to learn, and something resonates with your soul and you're so fascinated by it, it
Mhm.
shouldn't be difficult. And children will actually resonate and want to, learn more about it, other
Mhm.
than what I've been trying to force, which I feel like the math right now is in what I'm getting from it is not a good thing. It's like they are breaking and breaking down and breaking down. And there's just like this fractalization of this breaking down, where I feel like they're opening pockets, but not in a positive way.
Okay.
So I don't know how to explain what I feel about it, but that's,
There's a kind of nefarious kind of intent that you don't resonate with, obviously.
yeah, like our math, there's something wrong with our math. And we need to give some more insight or more eyes on that. And yeah.
I guess it's not just our math, which are
Yeah, no,
compromised.
not just our
Pretty much
math, but
everything has to be absolutely rethought and actually needs to crumble down entirely before we can construct it again. And that's on all
yeah,
level, I guess. But yeah.
totally.
So I kind of sidetracked you regarding, homeschooling and everything. You were on the journey here about your inner journey and about, so I want to continue on that
It's a
path.
lot, I know.
Yeah.
So my journey, I did a dream regression on my birthday, to help myself through some things, some memories, some dreams that I had very prominently that I couldn't forget about, which one of them was my grandmother protecting me and putting me under this kitchen sink, and me feeling like I was just in there for a very, very long time. And by the time my mom had found me and tried to get me out of there, I was crying hysterically, telling her they took her, they took her. So I wanted more insight on that.
How old were
I
you when
could,
that happened? Just to.
so I feel like I was around 4 or 5 years old when this happened. I don't have the exact age, but 4 or 5, I was that little. And I could draw the whole kitchen, what my house looked like, where the steps were, the door, the windows, and everything was at the time, which was pretty shocking to my mom for
Hmm.
someone to be able to remember and draw it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did this dream regression, and right after I did the dream regression, and I did have some womb healing that needed to be done.
Hmm.
And the crying and the pain and the emotions that came up around that were what signaled to me that, oh my gosh, this isn't just some thought or some dream. There was something real happening there. Um, so I did get right the next day a clear visual of my abduction, where they were, one of them was right over my head, and there was another one in the background. And I wasn't able to like pan my head left or forward. I was just this vision, just that straight right there, which led me to remember, oh my gosh, I remember having these horrific sleep paralysis, where I was awake, I was aware of what was going on, but I couldn't move my body, I couldn't scream. I was like muttering it and yelling in my throat, but I could see this being half in and half out of my wall, which I couldn't forget. So I don't know if they were putting me back or about ready to take me or what was happening at the moment, but I was aware and I could remember that thing. And it had very big dark eyes, very like wrinkled but uh, thick looking neck, and just a dark figure there. So, and that it wasn't the first time,
You
but
have
I had forgotten about it.
yeah. You have mentioned when we had an interview, common interview with the Galactic Chicks with Danny Anderson on her. You have mentioned a particular nefarious race of extraterrestrial that you would seem to associate with that particular vision. Um, I don't know if you're comfortable about mentioning the name of it or if it's even necessarily useful, but definitely nefarious intents. So I don't know
I
if
am, and I feel like it is important to mention the name because yes, I was able to make the connection of who they were when I came across Elena Danan's A Gift from the Stars book, and then when her Area 51 book with Stephen Chua came on,
yeah.
and it was even more visual because I feel like she was being a little candid with what what they look like, so she's not freaking people out. But yes, the Mitra.
Where people just
Yes,
have an idea. So right stuff to
yeah,
not very particularly charming.
not charming at all.
And
Um,
so this moment where you when you were able to recover this information, how did you go through that? Was there like a transmuting or a sort of healing process for you regarding this abduction, or is it something that you're still kind of dealing with right now?
yes, I did need to do another dream regression because it was just a visual I was getting. Um, so when I did want to go into that visual, it took me about 5 or 6 months after to be able to say, okay, let's get into that.
Yeah.
So I did it again with Daniel, and we went into it.
Mhm.
Um, and I started getting cold. I started shaking and feeling like, okay, whatever was happening to me at the time was what they were. I am not getting into my body to, I guess, make me numb or not move. But I did feel cold and shaky. And I was feeling it all right when I'm laying down in my bed. I'm covered with my blankets. I'm not freezing or anything. And you do feel the fear and everything that you do feel at the moment when
It's a
you're
complete
trying to
recollection of the
reliving
yeah, you're
of
reliving the thing.
yeah. So I was able to see the being over me. I was able to see some of the machines that were to my left. I didn't know where the source of light was coming from. I just know that there was light somewhere there. And at some point, there was a bright door that opened up behind them. And then I don't know what happens after that. He did try to take me into this door, but I was just floating and everything was extremely white. And I haven't been able to go again past that. It was a little bit, I'm still a little bit shaky about it right now.
Okay, so I don't want to push you into that too much. I want you to feel comfortable to talk about what you're okay with. Um, okay, if you want, we can move on to something else if you would like.
Yes.
Okay, no
But I
problem.
did want to mention that because I know
Yeah.
people have, I want to help validate people in their sleep paralysis. A lot of doctors like to just throw it off as just, oh no, that's some normal thing that happens. Well, no, not if you remember things and not if you've seen things. You know,
Absolutely.
you might want to go into that.
Yeah.
And you won't, when you're ready, you'll see what you'll see.
Mm.
You'll get what you need to get in order to understand some things. But I was very taken care of by the person who did the regression with me. My guides were with me, and I know I'm not the only one. So our community, the Galactic Chicks, are among we're among some good people that make it easier to to talk about these things and validate each other and be like, you know what, where you can talk about it. So it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Thank you very
Um,
much for being authentic and sharing that with us. I know it's not easy for you to talk about it, but the fact that you have the courage to do so not only honors your strength and courage, but is so benevolent for you to share it for people who have probably experienced these things they were not able to talk about it. So thank you, because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of help to people who need to find solace and also know that they're not crazy and these things happen and it has happened to other people. So thank you for what you're doing in that way.
and thank you as well. Your channel is very important in giving us the space to be able to freely express it and be able to talk about it. And you are a very grounded starseed, so
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Thank you. Thank you. I want to perhaps move on a little bit this way. We go in a perhaps more comfortable area for you if you want to. Regarding you discovering the work of Elena and how perhaps this whole journey of self-discovery that we all kind of went through with her book, A Gift from the Stars, which is kind of a compendium of like 110 races, which of extraterrestrial races, which gave us the opportunity to realize, oh my God, I know these people, or I feel a connection with this or that. And so I'm curious to know, in your spiritual journey and inner journey, how this encounter with Elena's work brought you to some discoveries or to finding yourself.
I'm glad you asked. In my moment of darkness, I was going through that dark night of the soul, and I was like, just please give me something. I know that there's more to this. Like, what can I do? Or what, there has to be more, please, and it just, I feel like putting that intention out there really was like, okay, you're ready for it. It's coming. So we all have that one friend where and it's funny how you connect with that one friend. You don't even remember how it is that you found the friend
Yeah,
that you can talk to about these things. And then everything just starts opening up. It was just like one door to the other. So this person, um, first led me to Alex Collier. So I was like, oh my God,
Alex is like a revelation.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And I just really resonated with the information and felt a very strong connection there. And after Alex Collier came Elena Denan. And at first I was watching and I'm like, no, this is can't be. Because she was very fluent with what she was saying. What she was saying was very like mind-blowing and not out of like, I don't know, I'm not sure, but going from Alex to Elena was a little, I was like, wait, what? Oh my gosh. But the more she went on and went on, I was just like, oh my God. Oh my gosh, there's no way that anybody can even memorize that. That's not memorizing words or playing some script. This is real stuff. And I just couldn't stop. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to hear more. And when she came out with her first book, and we were yeah, when she came out with her first book, I was super excited.
Mhm.
It was extremely exciting. And I think that's when Galactic Chicks was coming about to be, right? I think it was somewhere in August of last year, I want to say.
Yeah,
I
I think
remember
it
the
was a bit
date. Tina
later. It was
told us.
perhaps a year later or so. Yeah, that the galactic chicks merged.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, it was just even more awesome. And then the Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference was coming, and this need to be there, this need to be with, the our group and see each other physically. Like I know it was very powerful for us and awesome to find each other and be able to speak about these things in these groups and hold our little meditations and healings that we do. But oh my gosh, we were going to be able to physically see each other. But we were doing it in such a time that, oh my gosh, the pandemic was happening and not a lot of people were able to go. So
Hmm.
we still haven't all met. I haven't met you physically yet, and I haven't met, all of some of the other ones and more that are coming around.
Yeah.
So the Jizik last year was very impactful. Before getting there were like three rainbows on my way with my friend who I started having memories and dreams with afterwards, um, which I feel like I have been on some kind of missions with her or something. We were
Hmm.
always in some airport or changing clothes and getting ready to do something else. And then another one was we were at a very elaborate, very, very fancy party where we were wearing sequence dresses and masks. And,
Mm.
I had forgotten my purse on this table and I was freaking out because they were like, oh, they're gonna find my purse, and my purse has my gun and my information and who I really am, and I don't want them to know. So it was just a lot. I'm still processing all these
Hmm.
all these dreams. It's been so many, but the rainbow thing, getting there, um, welcoming everybody the first day. I'm very sociable. I love socializing with people. So getting to work with everybody and in the entrance and saying hi to everybody there that was there and just made me feel so good. I was like, yes, this I'm totally up for it. Hello, come in, and Ketsa Shaw's Akuria Mate and the oh my goodness, just it was all so awesome. And I realized how awesome it was when it was like time to go because it was really difficult. I started crying. I'm like,
Hmm.
why am I having this reaction? Like of leaving my friends, especially with like specific one, specific people. I'm like, wow, this is it's like like I don't know how to explain it,
It's like
but it
leaving your
was very
tribe in a way. It just hurts you.
yes, it was painful. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was very impactful. That was also like, man, there's your soul knows something. You've been
Hmm.
connected to these people before in your life. Um, and you just know.
Hmm.
And some of us have had dreams with each other. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's a powerful event, and it will be again, and probably even more because there's going to be even more people, and we'll see it. It's going to be my first time. I can't wait to vibe in that energy and feel everybody's presence because everybody's already so amazing, but like just online, so just feeling the energy, the frequency, like in person, it's just going to be like
And
my
in one place, like all these
yeah.
people, all of us together in one place. It is very impactful. A big healing happened actually for me right after that as well. I had bought one of and it probably wasn't even that, but it was significant. I got one of Quetzalcoatl's little necklaces.
Hmm.
He told me to pick one, whichever one resonated with me. I got it. I brought it home. And within that same week, and I feel like it was global, uh, something was different in my family, in the energy in the air. Like
Hmm.
after those 3 days, something just felt like elevated in the world for me. And
Yeah.
I've heard other people say this, but I don't want to speak for other people.
Hmm.
I want to speak for myself. But yes, it was something that might have happened that we, with our love, probably created something. So it was the day, okay, the Day of the Dead. That's why I remember it was the Day of the Dead. And I
Hmm.
started bringing out pictures of, it was my first time doing it also. I never really practiced that, the Day of the Dead.
Custom.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
I really wanted to. I was like, you know what? I really want to honor my past. I want to know more about my great grandparents. I want to know more about my history. Like, what were they into? So I brought out these pictures and I started bawling like when I held my great grandmother's picture in my hand. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I and there's familial issues, and everybody has some kind of family issues, so that we need to heal from, and mostly motherly and my grandmother in my family. So it was very difficult because there's been this disconnection, and I've always worked on trying to get them together and to bring everybody back together and things like that. But my necklace broke right in half, right when I felt like, wow, I felt like I forgot about you. I felt like I finally connected with her, my great grandmother, again, and in a very strong and powerful way. She was a very big deal for me when I was little. She lived until she was like 93 years old, but she had this peace about her. She couldn't talk, but she just her energy, just her presence was everything to me when I was a kid. So
She was a protector
losing her
in
was,
ways, and she was a really
yes. And I do feel that she was the one protecting me when I was around 4 or 5 years old, and that she is always with me. Um, I was told several times that she was, but I didn't really like believe that at that point in my life. I was just like,
yeah.
yeah, you're just bringing stuff up. But yeah,
The busy mind just wants to make this stuff wrong and
yeah,
not true. And it's beautiful what you say about because it's a way, in a way, what you did, with the necklace and your inner healing journey is not only did you heal yourself, but in a way, I guess there was some transgenerational healing, which is also something often people don't realize, that the inner journey work that they do, or the spiritual work they do, is not just for themselves, is that it really actually like heals lines, generational lines of
getting
issues.
chills. Just that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and it's
That's
so
exactly what it
important. It's
is.
not just like wishy woohoo like spiritual stuff. We're talking like major stuff, because when you're healing like a whole transgenerational line. Sorry,
Generational.
my French is yeah, I mean, it's like thousands and thousands of people you're healing, because it has an impact on the past, on the future, on the present. And it's just
On
like,
all dimensions, right?
it's
Like just
insane,
yeah,
like, so it's really powerful work. So it's, wow, it's
it
amazing.
did. And where this thing broke was impressive as well. It broke right at the head.
Hmm.
Like so
So symbolic.
very,
Wow.
very symbolic.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
powerful experience. So, you mentioned before that through Elena's work, you were able to identify, through this compendium of different races from upstairs, as we call them, that there is a particular race that you seem to kind of connect with. And I know you also did this wonderful astrology, a galactic astrology session, which gives an opportunity for people to know a little bit more about how their soul has traveled to different star nations, but also, I mean, star systems and everything. So, would you like to tell us a little bit more about that, if you're comfortable sharing that publicly?
Yeah, totally, yes. So Sumati did my galactic chart reading, and I was mind blown with the information that she had come across, because of what I've been doing since 2016 with
Mm-hmm.
the mission I took on my own, and what she came up with, what came up in the chart. She said that my soul origin is Tau Ceti,
I
as
have
and I
it
was an
here.
Aramani.
Oh, you have it?
Well, you go up and bring it, because I would like to
Okay.
just keep talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tau
Paramani.
Ceti, Aramani humanoid, and so in order to catch some people that aren't aware of what they were doing, I'll read what it says.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aramani humanoid races populate this star in the constellation of Taurus. Their ancestry stems from the Lyran star system. This ancient galactic experience is the fire that ignites you in your motivation in this life, as it is where the deepest polarity was experienced. This understanding may just be beginning to feel understood by you, and a purpose-driven mission to bring light and truth of human interference from negative galactic races and influences presents itself to you, not for revengeful action, but for allowing inner peace and wisdom to prevail. Um, there's a little bit more on this. I'm going to drag it on.
Oh, it's
Um,
interesting. It's really fascinating how it corroborates.
yes. and the soul connection to Series A as well, where I had some traumas there, remembering in a past life. I've got like Andromedan help. There's something else here. Hold on. Sorry.
Andromedan help, which is also kind of interesting with your connection with Alex and immediate kind of good feeling about
Right.
it.
And his right, the connection to Alex and the Andromedan. So I was like, "But this is all just mind blowing." And I didn't get everything like all in one blow. Like I had to keep going back to this chart. You're reading it, you're going through your astrological reading, and you have all this information coming to you, and you're just like, oh, okay, okay, okay. A lot of it is still just going right past you, right
Yeah.
past you. But
Mhm.
you get like physical information on it that you can reference to. So when you're ready, things just start connecting themselves and showing themselves even more
Wow.
towards you, especially when you do take the time to do the inner work that is super important and hard to get people to understand what that inner work really does. Is the moment you start sitting with yourself and giving yourself that time to remember, connect with yourself, that's when things start coming to you. But you're going to keep making excuses or not putting the time to do it.
Thank you for
You're just avoiding
mm,
your own beauty. I mean, yes, it might be scary. Some things might be scary, but there's so much beauty in it and so many amazing lessons that will not just when you're doing this inner work for yourself and you are helping yourself and you finally understand where your pain comes from, where your love really lies, and who you are as a human being, you'll be able to decipher what is not good and what is good. Because some people tell me, well, how do you know this for sure? I can't tell you this is this or that is that. The more you know yourself, the more that you know about where you came to be, how you came to be in your love, is the easier it'll just come to you. You'll be able to clearly see for your own self without any outside people telling you what is or what isn't. You'll know, but you have to get to know yourself.
thank you. Thank you for really emphasizing that because I think it's absolutely crucial, especially right now in this moment of transition we're going right now. If we're all really pushed to that we want it or not to go within, and if when you resist, it
Yeah.
doesn't go so well. So when you
No.
let go to the process, it's so continue about the Aramani. So how do you feel that it's a knowing for you in the sense like that you resonated with these people, and like how does that connect with your mission in a way?
I was working to positive. I was trying to find the wording that she said, but not self-service races. We were actually working with some of the bad guys that had gone good. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another problem that I have with people is that everybody thinks that, oh, I'll use celebrities as an example. Like, oh, all celebrities 100% are dark and they're all evil, they're all this, they're all that. Well, no. I mean, how do you expect how did you expect anything crazy or dark to be brought to us and our attention and to our vision and to our knowing if somebody didn't really take that horrendous task and mission to be play that part and not give themselves away and not and also live long enough to tell the story. So I really want people to think about that. Not all of them are this, and many of them grew up into this life where they thought that was the norm. That was normal to them. That's all they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's all you know, you're going to repeat the cycle. You're just going to go on like life is that way. People really have like this one way of seeing things when no, you really have to put yourself out of your own shoes and into somebody else's life to know how did it get this bad? How why did it get that way? But not assume that everybody has dark or is dark within them. They're
Yeah.
probably just as innocent and just didn't know it, didn't have anyone there to show them this isn't the way.
Yeah, a lot of trauma, unresolved trauma, perhaps, and repeating
Yeah.
trauma again through either transgenerational abuse or whatever. But also, I mean, it's also, I think, important, like, I don't know if that's exactly what you mean, but just to keep that notion of um having our shadow. I mean, and and even if we have been benevolent intentions, we all have a shadow, and if that shadow is not kind of faced or dealt with or accepted, and the trauma is transmuted, I mean, we're all at risk to eventually go on the wrong side of things, because it's and
Well, I'd love to give another example.
yeah, go for it.
Um, People go into the military services, people go into being doctors for what? Because they really want to help humanity. They want to protect humanity. And we have a lot of good people in some difficult places that we're thinking, oh, I'm doing the best for humanity. We're saving humanity, who were tricked into thinking they were doing something good when in reality they were causing,
Yeah. And I mean, right
and
now we could consider them like enemies in a way, because, but I mean, are they
yeah,
really enemies? Are they just people who didn't necessarily did that journey of questioning, and, they're not.
exactly. They were just as unclueless and blind as we were at some point. I was blind. I was.
Mhm.
And it's pretty crazy how they do this. They trick us, but that inner work, you don't want to be tricked anymore. You want to be able to clearly see, go within yourself, and you'll be
That's the
able to
only way.
have some compassion. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you'll
the only
have
way to get
compassion
your
for
soul back.
others.
Yeah,
Hmm. That are
absolutely.
going through these things, and compassion for those in all aspects of our lives, whether it be celebrities, doctors, teachers, everything right now that's actually getting the attention of. Things are wrong on all levels, and we need we've got to do something about it on all levels,
Yeah.
and the only way is love, going within ourselves.
Absolutely. And also this division that's taking place, and not just, trying to identify the good ones or the bad ones.
Yeah,
And without remembering that we're just a spectrum of gray, and we're just trying to, depending on our level of healing, we're just going to stand in some part of the spectrum, and I know it's too easy to put like dark and white, and just, yeah, anyway.
I'm going to
uh
give you some drawings because I
Go
feel
for
like
it,
that
go
would
for it.
all help with a lot of the things and probably organize my thoughts
Mhm.
on some of the stuff. I'll hold some of them back, but I want to show you the most that I feel would be it. So this was the drawing I had
When you
of
were
that
small.
party. Yeah, red
Okay.
carpet and all.
Okay.
People wearing masks. My
Hmm.
purse was on this table. And this is how my friend Crystal was dressed, the one that I went to the conference with that I had a dream with.
Okay, interesting. It reminds me of a movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Like some 007 stuff.
No, I was thinking more of that,
Oh,
stuff happening in some sort of castle that's very,
oh yes.
with
Yes.
Tom Cruise and
Mm.
his wife or ex-wife, whatever. Anyway, it reminds me a little bit of that, which is, you know,
It okay, so
wondering what you were doing there, but
uh,
probably some of
I'm gonna
espionage.
drop what I was doing there in my dream. So we were there. There was this little kid that we were able to we weren't using our words, our mouths, but I was able to telepathically, I think, speak to this little boy. And this little boy was not happy with the situation that his parents were doing for him. It was his celebration, and they were going to give him like four women or something like that, and he was not for it. And he was talking to both of us like, I don't want this, I don't want this, help me, help me, help me. And our what I feel is our mission was to get him out of there. So she was able to get him and get out. I don't know what was across the bridge, but I felt like there was water around that castle. Mm, and I had to go back in so that they wouldn't figure out like who I was, who we were, or where this kid ended up. So that was that dream. And
Interesting.
then this was the dream I had, or the
Yeah.
vision that I had that came after.
Yep.
Um
Hmm.
My first dream regression, and
Mm.
a more close up of what they look like.
Yeah.
And I remember being told, once you wake up from this stuff, try to draw it so that you can get some more out of it. And I
Mhm.
did. And so
Okay.
I woke up. The first thing I did was go to my desk, start my drawing. And I was listening to music. I wanted to listen to the Twilight series music for some reason. And I just wanted, I really like the movie. I love the
Mhm.
books. Um, so this, and you don't pay attention to the lyrics sometimes of these things. So it was my 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 phone kept jumping and skipping songs and then stopped when it got to this part. So
Interesting.
the song it stopped at is called Hearing Damage.
Oh,
So I was like drawing this stuff out while this was going on. So this is why I wrote it all over it, because I was drawing this while it was coming in.
yeah.
And June 8, 2022. Um the lyrics are that came on at the time was a tear in my brain, allow the voices in, they want to push you off your path with their frequency wires, but you can do no wrong, in my eyes. So I was like, they tried to do something, they were trying to do something, and they didn't get to do it. The one back here was frustrated and upset that they couldn't do something, and then that's when this door, or this white bright light,
Portal
comes
kind of
in.
thing, or yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And that's where that ends.
That's
So
interesting. Yeah, especially, I mean, the symbolism of the music. And that reminds me again, when I do my sessions, the CIT sessions, like music sometimes just like it pops out and it's just like so freaking relevant in terms of symbolism. It's such an
it
amazing
is.
tool to work with, music. Sometimes people tend to want to find the answers outside of them by like going to see a psychic or someone, sometimes just working with your own, like the symbols you receive from like life, which is an actual oracle in itself, with like you open a book at that page and there goes like a perfect text that just like jumps into your face, or a song, the melody, the words, so I think it's really important for people to remember that it's, they're
It's
themselves
always happening. It's really always
all the
there.
time,
I've had
all the
feathers
time.
just flutter before me. Yes, songs in stores, in the car, whether whatever it is, it's just something that, like, okay, I was crying in the car and I was just like at my lowest at this point, and then this song comes on and it's super relevant to what was going on, and it just like, who was the song connected to? Some person that's passed away, trying to get this message to you, literally telling you in real time. Like they work through the matrix in the most beautiful, amazing ways. They do.
Yeah,
You can't tell me that there are no signs, that you have no one around you, that your guides aren't there. Oh yes, they are. They've
obviously.
always been there. Always been there.
It's just a question of being present enough, not only in terms of mindfulness, but open in your heart in order to receive. Because when we're stuck there, and God knows I am stuck there very often, when you just, when you're not in that heart space, everything's just going to fly by you and you're just not going to see it. But
It does. That's why taking that time is important. Yeah, we get all caught up and all busy. I go through self-doubt like you wouldn't believe. I'm just in a roller coaster, especially with what I'm doing, the homeschooling. You don't think I don't doubt myself. Oh my gosh, I do. I do. And I'm like, am I doing the right thing for my kids? Am I what I'm doing going to help their future? Is it not going to help their future? Should I be hard on myself for this? Should I be more soft on myself for this? And it's a battle. It really is. And the most recent message I got recently was like, Dawn, there's no wrong way to do things. Like when I was all like, yeah, I really want to do Reiki. I don't know if the world is ready for this type of healing, like, your CIT healing and this inner work that we really need to get to. And I'm like, I don't have a website. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have that.
it's
I'm
going to
already
come to
putting
you.
excuses to something. And I'm like, it's done your way. What can you do? Well, there's long distance. I mean, frequency is everything. Energy is anywhere. There is no such thing as time, space, or matter when it comes to these things. And I mean, I've had amazing results that were proof to myself, because going into this, I was still skeptic and not sure if any of this was even real. But my own healing, my own experiences, the feedback I've been getting, your feedback, what you get it is proof. There is, it's tangible. There's proof. that it
And
does
when we
work.
let go of that fear and that lack of trust, I mean, things just come, but we're always tested, and that's good. I think it's important because it tests our sovereignty, but also our discernment and our capability of trusting our information, and just standing there and say, I'm going to pursue this, even if I'm doubting myself a little bit. And every time you do that, it just answers just flow in, and it's just it's incredible. It's actually
Yeah, the doors
magic.
start opening up to other things. It's crazy. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's awesome.
Yeah. So tell
Um,
me, Don, is where this whole internal journey, inner journey, but also about your remembering the events that took place either in some parallel densities or whatever's happening, and also with your work and your mission as well regarding soldiers and everything. Where do you stand now, and what's your next steps in terms of like what do you want to focus upon right now? What's your priority right now in terms of all of this, and how to make it?
that's that's exactly where I'm at, where that just a few days ago I got to the point where there is no wrong way to do it. I've got a lot to juggle in my life. I've got homeschooling. I I know I want to write this book. I want to finish writing this book. And I do want to do what my heart's desire was prior to me, getting into this mission was, helping people heal, helping hold this space for them, helping them get to this point. And it's it's not as easy as people would say because you do have to deal with it's a very personal thing. And I mean, even throughout my life, I've had people where people would just tell me they don't really know me, and they'll tell me their life stories, these painful things. Well, they'll cry and everything, and I'm just like, okay, we're here. We came back for this, even if we think we're not doing anything. Our presence, just standing there, hearing someone else out, and allowing them to get this off of their minds and out and to feel it and to process it, it's a big deal because trying to ascend ourselves in this planet and everybody in it, all we want for ourselves is and for everybody is the best. So how do we get there? By doing these things where it's beautiful. It's a little difficult, it's a little personal, but I mean, the more you get into these personal things with others, you realize yourself, you're going through healing yourself. It's like this win-win situation. And
Absolutely. And it
it's yeah,
re-energizes you. It also recenters you because by giving so much, you receive, and it's like this incredible cycle.
yeah.
It's amazing. I
There's
think
a
what you said,
magic, a beautiful thing in it.
it
Yeah.
is. What you say, I think, is really important, and you're touching upon something I find really, really important is that question of listening. And I think we're in a place right now, not only regarding social media, our relationship to, I don't know, cell phones, life being busy. Now disclosure is just tumbling down. So it's like media, 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 media. And there's also that question of listening. And I think it's becoming an art because listening is, I mean, how much do we really listen to either ourselves or people around us? I mean, there's an intention of being there for people, but often it's about like what I'm going to say, what I'm going to, it's always about, it's not so much about being just calm and present in silence and listening to the other and listening to ourselves. So I think what you mentioned there is really, really important. And just being a presence that listen is a gift. It's an incredible gift to people who need it. A
It
lot of people
is.
need to just be heard and just express themselves.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing with soldiers is absolutely amazing because in a way you're giving an opportunity to people who are suffering to just express themselves and like this story come out. I was talking, I think I've had an interview with Vicky, and I think Vicky. And Vicky is working with veterans, and she's working on, their PTSD and what they're going through regarding their experiences. And I find a lot of correlation between both of your energies, you and Vicky, in sense of like really wanting to be there for these people and for what they're going through. And I think it could be a really interesting project of trying to join you guys together and do something about either, the question of soldiers or veterans or the experiences they've been through and exchange between your two experiences. I think that could be really, really interesting and bring a lot. So I don't know if that's something that resonates
Wow.
with you. We'll talk
Oh,
about it.
yes.
I think it could be really interesting to have you two like really share experiences regarding that. And if that's something you want to do
Yes.
publicly or not publicly, we could arrange something. But I just
Oh
wanted to
my
mention.
gosh. I actually would love to.
Yeah, okay.
I actually would love to. And I'm really glad you are you mentioned that and put this that way.
Okay.
Yes, I
Well,
am.
definitely we'll do something about
Yeah.
that because I think it's really needed right now with the situation and a lot of people need to know, but also a lot of people need to express their experiences. So I think and having the people who actually care about these people and help them and support them would be a really amazing way to I don't know how yet this
They
is
need to be
happening.
listened to very much.
Yeah,
They really do need to be listened to. They're the ones that are like, no, don't listen to them. They're crazy. No, they've seen
they've
very
seen
difficult
crazy.
things.
Yeah. Hmm.
I've had some reach out to me that told me they couldn't wait to hang their boots and dog tags from the things that they were made to do
Yeah.
and not say anything about.
Is it
So
something that you feel that you were permitted or allowed? Can you hear me? Does the
it went out for just a second, but yeah.
microphone work now? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Um, is that something that you think you would be allowed to share on YouTube, like in terms of your, doing a YouTube channel, something like that, where you could share these people's experiences, or you would feel that you would be shut down by the platform?
I feel like I would be shut down by YouTube. I wouldn't be able to do it on YouTube.
Which
And that
gives us an
is
idea.
what,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, yes, that was where things were getting at. This is what they don't want is
Yeah.
what they really have to say, what they really have been saying that were actually true with what we know what's going on with the children
Yeah.
in the movie Sound of Freedom. And it goes a little bit deeper than that. And there are good guys out there, that have had to see these things that are going to need our ears. And this burden, or I don't want to call it a burden, but that heaviness shouldn't only be for them to carry. We need to alleviate that in being able to understand, hey, thank you. I know what you're seeing. We believe you, and give them some kind of honor, and they're, many of them are working behind the scenes and doing this, risking their lives and doing these very difficult tasks, and are not ever brought to, they don't want glory, they don't want their names out there, but they do deserve some kind of acknowledgement, to give them that motivation, that love that we have for them, and that understanding that, we believe you and we appreciate you.
Yeah. Do you see a time in the relatively close future regarding, disclosure and things becoming a little bit more out there, that this is something that, I mean, it's so important because, I mean, they're the first in line. I mean, they've seen what was in the tunnels and, I mean, the whole thing that's going to come out officially at some point. I mean, they were on the first lines and they're the ones what we should be taking the most care of. Do you see a time relatively soon when you think that will be possible to express publicly, or you feel it's going to take still many years before this can come out publicly and you'll be able to actually share about these experiences publicly, and you have to work kind of in the shadow or behind or anonymity?
I feel like we're at the tip of it already. I feel like it is happening. It is starting, especially with the Sound of Freedom. I feel like that was a very good way to bring that in.
Mhm.
Um, People already have a hint of what's going on. And even if you want to play the game that, oh, you didn't believe this was happening, it's in everyone's face right now.
Yeah.
You can either choose to look away or not, but it's in your face. Everybody has at least some whiff of it,
Yeah.
being in the known, in the out. It's already out.
Mhm.
So I do with the Whistleblower Act as well that was just passed, and the House hearing that we just had with the UFO information, and the non-biological human information that we just got, that there's proof of that as well.
Hmm.
Because this wasn't just happening on this planet. We are gonna get to some point where what was happening here with all this was also happening on other planets.
It's the whole trade actually was happening.
The
I
whole
mean,
It was a trade. It was a big time trade. So I feel like it is in the works. And as far as how long it would take, I would like to compare it to how long it took us to catch up with what I was trying to get out in 2016. Many of us were trying to get out in 2016 because it wasn't just the Marines,
mhm.
the children,
Yeah.
um, and everything. So I feel like it will happen in
Yeah.
trickles, spots. Many of us that are here already, I'm in Florida, you're in I
Montreal.
don't in Montreal. We're all over the place. So I feel like we are these the information that's going to be bringing these things out and allowing them to air out. Like it's not just my mission to work with these people, but for all of us to get to some point where we can have a conversation, have some tea, and like we used to, and hear the person who experienced something out, whether it's a brother, sister, mother, uncle on a channel or writing a book, start getting that information out. Yes. Yeah. So it all
I mean,
depends on us.
yeah, I mean, it's the level of awareness that we're ready to permit, or yeah.
Move
Before we
forward.
kind of close this interview and bring it to an end, I wanted to ask you how can like common, everybody, people like us who are not necessarily involved with the soldiers situation, is there any way we can contribute or support them, or what you do? Is there, I don't know, in presence and financially, in, I don't know, supporting, is there any ways in which we can participate to this situation or cause, or
I feel like the documentary that I have pinned in my Telegram is very, it has the potential to wipe the veil
okay.
out of people's eyes and to get a good insight as to how these things were being done, how they got away with them, what were they doing. Okay, this documentary didn't get to see the light of day. This documentary was being blocked big time, for a reason, because they knew its impact. Um, the symptoms that they were dealing with are dealing with, and some who have not made it this far, because the father of my children was one of those. He, just to give you an insight, he went to the emergency room and they were trying to run a lab on what was going on with him, because he was going to the bathroom, urinating what looked like a wine with bubbles, wine colored urine with bubbles in the toilet, and very pale, had issues trying to swallow, and a pain in underneath his belly button. So they were trying to run a lab, and his blood was so thick they could not run a lab on him, and they looked at him like he was just from out of this world. So what were they a precursor to that we're seeing right now?
Wake up, people. A lot of things
Mm,
are, well, a lot of these things are starting to appear in people's everyday life, and
yeah. And the heart
loved
issues
ones.
don't go too far from that. The
Yeah.
brain lesions they were finding, the lungs, everything. So I don't know if I'm saying too much, but
No, no, no. Well, I think if it was for me, you'd be out there, but I want you to be secure as well and protected. But
still,
at least it gives enough hints to people who are not aware about these things to perhaps go and check out your Telegram link and look at this incredible documentary, which I think, will open a lot of eyes and consciousness. So really invite everyone to have a look at that. It's very important, and keep an open mind towards all this, because a lot of things are not just tumbling down on your side. I mean, it's everywhere. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and it's time for us
yeah,
to really to accept what has been
yeah,
happening, and see how we can humbly participate in trying to support and help. And I think you're doing an amazing job in everything you do on all levels. I mean, not only with your children, but with the soldiers, with
I've
Everything.
learned more from my children than I have in my whole life. Having to homeschool has, and I have not been good. I've been frustrated, like, you've got to do this, to questioning why do I feel like you need to do this? Well, I was told this way, you need to do this. You need
Mm.
to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. No,
Programming in the background was just
no, you don't. And it's oh my goodness. They have been what has broken down my healing, my programming, my I've got to rethink these things through. We need we're living in a time where we don't have enough time to go within ourselves, enough time to be with our children. We are so busy having to survive and work two jobs, two parents having to work two jobs, where you're not being able to pay attention or get into that, so that you're tapping into this stuff. Um,
and it's on
where was I
purpose,
going with this?
obviously. Let's say
It's
it.
on purpose.
Of
Exactly. Thank you.
course.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
It is on purpose. We should not be this way. Mothers need time to be mothers. Fathers also need time to be fathers and protectors. And remember, they have such an important role in on this planet, to be our protectors, to be not just our protectors, but also loving and understanding and there for your children. I did not have my father. There are a lot of us didn't. And this goes on and on and on. But it's a cycle we have to break out of.
Mhm.
Like even the financial system is meant to do this as well, which needs to be done away with. Some kind of trading, some kind of other ways of being able to obtain what we really want to do, obtain what we really need, and do things for each other like we always naturally just did. We've built our communities, we've built our houses, we've done these things without this need for a government. Like, yes, sure, some kind of small way of, yes, this is fair, we need to be fair with this, we need to be fair with that. But I mean, it's unconditional within us to just do these things, and they've kept us so busy running their machines, that we're not working towards ourselves and our future, and what's good for humanity, and serving ourselves, where we can enjoy some kind of fire pit somewhere together, and speak, sing, play, dance, enjoy the earth, enjoy each other,
Yeah.
and just be.
The rat race was there for us to be prevented from going within, because they know it's the most powerful act we can do, is to go within and find that we are these amazing beings. And this is why I'm so fighting for it. Well, not fighting, but keep repeating it, because it's like it's not about, it's really just about that. The rest is wonderful, but it's secondary in a way. So I mean, we
Yeah.
need to take that time, we need to invest that time into ourselves. But anyway, I don't want to repeat myself, as I usually do. As we come
No,
to an end
that's
to
good.
this really beautiful interview, my dear Dawn, do you have a last few words you would like to share with us, or before we go?
No, I think you've helped me cover and bring forth a lot of things. Thank you.
And I'm sure
I
there's
really
much
appreciate it.
more coming, in terms of,
Yeah.
I feel that your path is rich in terms of self-discovery, and you're going to discover more and more. And not only are you going to do that, but also help so many people on the way, your children included. So I think it's wonderful what you do. Your work is really, really admirable. So thank you for being all that you are and what you do. And it's a pleasure to have you in my life and
Thank you.
continue the wonderful work.
I appreciate your work, appreciate your time and what you are doing with your channel,
Thank
and
you.
your CIT sessions as well, which I am looking forward to. Which I'm looking forward to doing.
Oh, well, you will be welcome. It will be a pleasure to play with music and words and and melody
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes.
So thank you again, dear Dawn, and good luck with all your endeavors. Take great care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, beautiful soul. You have been on a spiritual journey for some time, or perhaps you're just starting your inner journey. And you probably have questions that remain unanswered right now, although all your answers lie within yourself, as always. But sometimes we need someone to just give us a little nudge. And personally, as an intuitive and a transmitter and a creator, I have created my own type of approach where I offer the people the opportunity to ask a few questions, a maximum of 5 questions, where I will provide from my inner guidance, which is the fractal of source that I am and that you are as well as my high vibration guidance will provide a vocal transmission. And also we will be creating an artwork just for you, unique and original, based on your questions, and the motifs and the colors that will be chosen for the artwork will have in some way some information about the answers to your question. And I will also use a piece of music that, either through the frequency of its melody, of its words, will also give you some clues as to what the answers to your questions might be. And I only serve as a nudge, as a pointer, in order for you to, after that, resonate or not with this information, and then you can pursue your own spiritual and inner journey, just having been just helped a little bit on the path. So if you're interested in a creative intuitive transmission session, which I call CIT, I invite you to follow the link that's below in the description of this video, and on my website, abigailrichard.com/CIT. And don't hesitate to ask for more information or just book a session. Have a lovely day. Bye.